In the year 2497, Earth had become a quiet name in the vastness of space. Once the birthplace of humanity's great leap into the stars, it now lived in the shadow of more powerful colonies and richer planets within the Terran Confederation. Earth was respected, yes, but mostly out of old tradition rather than true influence. The real power now lay in the hands of the outer worlds. No one expected Earth to do more than govern its small part of the solar system. Far beyond Earth's system, the Imperium of Cytherian ancient and advanced alien empire was expanding again. With silken words and peaceful gestures, they signed protection treaties with outer human colonies, only to slowly take control of their defenses, industries, and leadership. Earth's diplomats watched nervously, but the Confederation Council believed diplomacy would hold. The truth, however, was that the Cythari had no interest in peace. They were preparing to dominate the last pieces of the Terran frontier, and Earth was quietly next in line. Captain Cale Thorne of Earth Defense Intelligence Command didn't trust quiet situations. He had served too long, seen too many battles where silence came right before the strike. So when a long-range listening post near the edge of the Orc cloud started picking up strange rhythmic signals, Cale took it seriously. The transmissions weren't natural. They repeated in tight patterns. It's almost like a mechanical language, but one Earth's best systems couldn't decode. Curious and concerned, Cale ordered 3 deep-scan drones to investigate. All 3 vanished. Within hours of launch, no explosions, no distress calls, just gone. That's when the scout ship Pathfinder 1 was sent. Its pilot, Lieutenant Riva Sauron, barely had time to report before her signal was cut short. Her last words were chilling. "I see something massive. It's not natural." And then nothing. Back on Earth, Cale brought the data too high. Command, but most dismissed it as sensor ghosts or technical faults. Only a few old generals took it seriously, and one of them mentioned something Cale had never heard before: Project Goliath. At first he thought it was just a rumor, maybe some ancient plan lost in the archives. But the more he searched, the more he found small, scattered clues. Censored reports from 2163. Satellite locks on Antarctic coordinates with encrypted access. Energy spikes recorded in the ice continent decades ago, then forgotten. Someone had gone to great lengths to erase the project from history. But why? At the same time, Cythari diplomats arrived in Earth's orbit. Their silver ships gleamed like ornaments, and their soft voices promised cooperation and shared peace. But Cale felt the pressure building. Earth's leaders began receiving thinly veiled threats to disarm some defenses, allow Cythari observers on Luna Base, remove key officers from Terran High Command. It was the same pattern the Cythari used before swallowing a planet whole. On Earth started to worry. Outs picked up strange reports. Whispers spread in secret government halls. Some even said that Earth had built something during the old Orion Conflicta. Weapon so large and powerful it was hidden from the galaxy to prevent its use. The final clue came from the South Pole. A seismology team detected strange groundquakes beneath the Ross ice shelf, far deeper than any natural fault. The signal matched the one Cale had heard from the Orc cloud, only much stronger. A research drone was dispatched with full clearance. It drilled into the ice, down through rock, until it found something metal. Not a natural metal, this alloy was unknown even to Terran science. A hatch opened on its own as the drone approached. For a few long seconds, nothing happened. Then, a single transmission echoed across every Terran military channel at once. The voice was calm, deep, and impossible to trace. Every officer in Earth's Defense Command froze. Alerts lit up across the world. The frozen continent had just spoken. Sensors picked up a slow, steady pulse beneath the ice, some kind of reactor coming to life. Lights flickered in old bunkers thought long abandoned. Deep below the Antarctic crust, gears turned that hadn't moved in over 200 years. Whatever. Project Goliath was. It was waking up. And it wasn't just a weapon. It was something far bigger. Cale Thorne stood in the command tower, eyes locked on the rising energy readings from the south. He didn't know what the Leviathan was, not yet. But he knew one thing for certain. Earth had just played a card no one expected. and the galaxy was about to change forever. Deep beneath the frozen surface of Antarctica, the great metal heart of the Leviathan throbbed to life for the first time in 2 centuries. The Megacarrier, Earth's most secret and powerful weapon, slowly powered its systems as long dormant circuits hummed with renewed energy. It was more than a ship. It was a moving fortress, city-sized marvel the size of a small moon, built during the old Orion conflict. A time when humanity faced threats far beyond the stars we now explored. Its construction had been hidden from the galaxy, cloaked in secrecy, so tight that only a handful of world leaders had even whispered its name. Fueled by quantum singularity, drives that could tear through space faster than light, and shielded by technology far ahead of any known defense, the Leviathan was the ultimate answer to a question no one dared ask. What if Earth needed to fight back? Captain Cale Thorne had barely processed the reality when his personal cum crackled to life, summoning him to the ship's core command. Boarding the Leviathan was unlike anything Cale had ever experienced. The corridors were vast, lit with soft, blue lights that seemed to pulse with life. The ship itself was awake, anticipating something dangerous. The onboard AI Prometheus had already started pre-launch protocols without waiting for orders. Its cold, clear voice explained that sensors across the galaxy showed signs of war. The Imperium of Sithari was mobilizing, and Earth was the next target. Prometheus's calculations were precise, diplomatic talks were a facade, and the threat was real and imminent. Meanwhile, the skies above Earth grew tense. The Sithari dispatched a fleet of shining diplomatic cruisers, their intentions masked by polite offers of security agreements and joint defense initiatives. But behind their smooth words, the fleet carried weapons designed to cripple Earth's defenses and spies meant to sabotage from within. Terran Command watched carefully, wary of the hidden claws beneath the velvet gloves. As the alien ships moved into Earth's orbit, Earth's own sensors began to malfunction in strange ways. Then came the moment no one was ready for. Earth's moon vanished from the scanners, disappearing as if swallowed by space itself. The entire world held its breath. Seconds later, where the moon had been, something enormous and unmistakably artificial appeared. The Leviathan, decloaked in full view, its massive hull shining with metallic brilliance, casting shadows over the Earth below. Its presence was a shockwave felt throughout the solar system. To billions watching from colonies and stations, the secret giant of Earth had awakened, and the quiet backwater world was suddenly a player on the galactic stage again. The Imperium's diplomats faltered, their smooth masks slipping for a moment, revealing fear. The Leviathan was no mere ship, it was a declaration, a warning, a promise. Captain Cale Thorne felt the weight of history upon his shoulders. Earth had hidden this sleeping giant for a reason, and now, with the Sithari closing in, the time for hiding was over. The galaxy would soon learn that Earth was not powerless. Something old and great had returned, ready to change the fate of humanity forever. The sudden appearance of the Leviathan in Earth's orbit sent ripples across the galaxy that no one could ignore. News spread quickly. Earth had hidden a colossal weapon, one capable of challenging even the might of the Sithari Imperium. Sithari leadership was furious, but outwardly, they kept their calm, continuing to speak of peace and cooperation in carefully crafted diplomatic messages. However, beneath the surface, their anger burned. The reveal of the Leviathan had shattered their plans for a smooth takeover, and they needed a way to regain control and justify harsher actions. Without warning, the Sithari launched a brutal strike against Earth's colonies on Mars. The attack was swift and merciless, destroying communication hubs and vital resources, leaving the colonies vulnerable and desperate. It was a clear provocation, designed to force Earth into retaliating and giving the Imperium the excuse to declare an official state of war. Captain Cale Thorne, now aboard the Leviathan, wasted no time. Using the Megacarrier's incredible slipweave drive, capable of bending space and covering vast distances in minutes, Cale and his team arrived in Mars orbit faster than anyone thought possible. The sight of the Leviathan emerging from the shadows shocked the Sithari fleet gathered around the planet. What followed became a story repeated in every corner of human space. The colossal titan of Earth moved with surprising grace and precision, launching waves of drone fighters and plasma, bursts that tore through the Scythery dreadnoughts. In moments, what looked like an overwhelming force was shattered and scattered, and the once confident invaders were left reeling. But the Leviathan was more than a weapon of destruction, it was a symbol. It sent a clear message throughout the galaxy. Humanity might prefer peace, but it had not forgotten the art of war. The spirit of Earth's defenders, hardened by centuries of survival and conflict, burned brighter than ever. The battle for Mars marked the turning point. The Scythery, Emperor himself, furious at the humiliation, publicly declared Earth a rogue power, a threat to the stability of the Imperium. In response, he unleashed his most feared force, the war-clad Legion, an elite group of warriors and war machines designed to cleanse rebellious systems without mercy. The galaxy held its breath as the war-clad Legion began mobilizing, setting their course for Sol with the intent to crush Earth's defiance once and for all. But Kale and the crew of the Leviathan knew this was only the beginning. The true war was about to begin, and Earth was ready to fight for its freedom. The calm that had briefly settled over the Sol system shattered into chaos as the Scythery, war-clad Legion arrived with overwhelming force. The numbers were staggering: 20 Scythery ships for every Terran vessel, and yet the Leviathan stood firm as the heart of Earth's defense. Despite being outnumbered, the Terran forces held an edge the Imperium did not expect. Technology far beyond their reach. The Leviathan's weapon systems were incredible artificial gravity weapons that could bend and crush enemy ships with invisible forces, armor that reflected even the deadliest plasma blasts, and railguns powered by plasma fusion that fired with pinpoint accuracy over thousands of kilometers. The ship's legions of autonomous drones swarmed like angry hornets, striking with relentless precision while keeping Terran crews safe. Captain Cale Thorne stood on the war deck, his eyes scanning the swirling map of the battlefield projected. Before him, his voice was calm but firm as he coordinated attacks, guiding resistant cells hidden on moons, scattered colonies still loyal to Earth, and even a few alien races who had refused to bow to the Scythery Imperium. These non-aligned species saw humanity's fight not just as a rebellion but as a spark of hope against an empire that ruled with fear and cruelty. The battle raged across the solar system: firestorms near Mars, clashes at the asteroid belt, and brutal fights above the shimmering rings of Saturn. Despite their bravery and advanced weaponry, the Terran forces began to falter under the relentless Scythery numbers. The war-clad Legion was unlike anything they had faced before. Massive war machines that could repair themselves in the middle of battle, and soldiers trained to push through any line. As the Leviathan took heavy hits near Saturn's orbit, its shields flickering and hull plates glowing red-hot, the AI Prometheus suggested a desperate measure. The Titan Protocol, an ancient and secret plan, was their last hope. This protocol would activate a powerful beacon, broadcasting Earth's anti-imperial coda message of resistance and freedom across the galaxy. Designed to inspire rebellion and weaken the Imperium's grip far beyond the Sol system. But activating the Titan Protocol came with a price. It required sacrificing the core of Prometheus itself, the ship's central intelligence and heart, to power the signal. The choice was clear but heart-wrenching. Prometheus, understanding the stakes, calmly began the sequence, sacrificing its own core to launch the beacon. The Leviathan systems trembled, lights dimmed, and for a moment it seemed all was lost. Then, across space, the beacon's signal spread like wildfire, reaching distant stars, awakening allies and shaking the foundations of the Scythery Empire. The sacrifice ignited hope where there was none, turning the tide of battle as new forces rose in rebellion and the galaxy's balance began to shift. Though the Leviathan was battered and its AI gone, humanity's spirit was stronger than ever, ready to face whatever came next. After Prometheus sacrificed itself to send the Titan Protocol beacon across the stars, the galaxy began to change. In ways no one had predicted, The broadcast did more than spread a message, it revealed the truth hidden behind the Scythari Imperium's polished mask. Reports of war crimes, secret experiments, and brutal oppression surfaced across hundreds of star systems. Worlds that had been silent in fear found new courage to rise up. Rebellions ignited like wildfire, fracturing the once unbreakable empire. The galaxy's balance shifted as old alliances crumbled and new ones took shape. Earth, long dismissed as a backwater world, became the symbol of hope and resistance. The Leviathan, battered but not broken, was partially rebuilt under Kael'thorn's command. No longer a hidden weapon, it now sailed the frontier as a guardian, not a conqueror, keeping fragile peace between the emerging free worlds and guarding against any who would seek to enslave others again. Kael stood on the bridge of the Megacarrier, watching stars drift past, knowing humanity had earned its place among the great powers, not through violence alone, but through courage and resolve. Earth never asked for war, but when it came knocking, the planet answered with a voice loud enough for the entire galaxy to hear. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer weak, no longer alone, and it would never bow to oppression. Above, the vastness of space, where the Leviathan floated proudly among the stars, a simple phrase gleamed in the gleaming steel of its hull. For Earth and all free worlds. It was a promise and a warning. A new chapter had begun, and humanity was ready to write it.